Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So this is a show where we talk about the books that came out the past week, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend comic books that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. Of course, we also talk about the news in the comic book world, and there is quite a bit because we've been away for the holidays.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled that we're back. I wanted to do a kind of like simultaneous stream. If you're watching this on the usual channel, that is to say youtube.com/ComicPop Returns, then you know that this show comes out more or less every week, but you probably missed the last two because there weren't any the last 2 weeks.
You didn't miss it. More like
you didn't miss it. We missed it. Exactly. But we wanted to remind folk that this channel is alive. It is well. We are doing our best. We are producing content specifically for ComicPop Returns. And we just wanted to remind you that this channel does exist. And so we're simultaneously streaming right now over on Facebook and on youtube.com/ComicPop, our main channel, ComicPop Prime. And so we thought, hey, let's just give you a little bit of a taste of what it's like over on that channel. So if you are so inclined, in the live chat right now on youtube.com/ComicPop, you can click the subscribe link that's in the chat. It's pinned to the top, and you can go there and you can subscribe so you don't miss any more live shows that are happening on this channel, because we're going to be heavily back in a big, bad way. A little bit of a reminder about what's going on ComicPop Returns. Well, I'll tell you. ComicPop Returns is where our live podcasts go. Over on ComicPop Prime, that is to say youtube.com/ComicPop, that's where Back Issues lives. That's where the shorts, those little clips from Back Issues go. And of course, here on Returns, you'll get all the live content. That is Off the Rack, Elseworlds Exchange, and more. We also have some pre-recorded shows that we are producing for this channel. Those are usually our kind of conversation pieces, interviews, and more. So check it out, subscribe, and you will enjoy the plethora of ComicPop content that there is out there for you to check out. So we want to thank you so much for indulging us on this kind of like, we're back 2024 stream. And so we're just going to get back to basics. It's not going to be too different from any other normal episode of the show. So here we go. I want to save the news. I think I want to save the news. The way that the format usually works is we start with some news, we get into the comics, and then we talk about books that are coming out this week, and we recommend some books.
Yes.
And there are a plethora. At least there's one king book that is coming out
to recommend
next week. That is to say this week, this Wednesday.
Do I know this?
I doubt it. So yeah, let's jump into it. I guess we could talk about the news. Why not?
No, you want to wait on the news? It's up to you. I don't care.
I don't have a lot of books.
It's 2024. You can do whatever you want.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Let's just do whatever we want.
Whatever we want. That's what everyone else is doing.
I think that's a fair idea. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, let's do it. Let's just do whatever we want. Let's talk about some books that came out.
I love it.
I have to talk about, just briefly, I don't want to get too in the weeds about it because we are at our penultimate issue. No, there's more. Hooray. Of Birds of Prey from Kelly Thompson, and this time from Arist Dean as the artist for this book. The previous artist on Birds of Prey has been Leonardo Romero, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I believe that Dean did a fine job. You know, I missed Romero because Romero is, I think, like 50%, 60, 70, 80% of the book. Kelly Thompson's been doing a fantastic job introducing us to a new Birds of Prey that is its own thing, baby. This is just a Dynamite series. I don't want to actually get into it too much. I just wanted to say this book is a book that I promise you're probably sleeping on. Kelly Thompson, best work since the Black Widow series that I loved so much. This book, her just doing her best for DC, reintroducing you to characters that you probably didn't either know or you either knew tangentially, like Zealot and Cassie Kane and so much more.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey is a sleeper hit of 2023, and I predict it will continue to be a phenomenal book in 2024.
Excellent.
Definitely worth checking out. This came out last week. I'm sure you can get it. Birds of Prey number 5.
Love it.
What about you? What did you read?
I read Doctor Strange this week.
Oh, great.
Last week.
This past week, yeah.
This past week. Yeah, Doctor Strange came out. Jed McKay. Danilo Bayruth.
Yeah, different artist than usual.
Different artist, different feel. I feel like it's pretty intentional. We wrapped up the last arc with Clea and her now new baby sister, and the return of the Doctor Strange, who fought the 1,000-Year War, and who is angry and bitter and lost all of his compassion.
General Strange.
Yes. Dealt with all of that, and now it's like cool. Like, it seems like we're doing a couple of little one-off stories, which is fun, and I'm not going to complain about that, even though I am going to complain about something. But it has less to do with a complaint of the book or its quality, and more just that I am weirdly feeling right now a bigger connection to McKay's Moon Knight than I am to this Strange series.
Yes, I've noticed that.
And it just feels a little bit like this is spinning its wheels, although we're going to get into Moon Knight in this episode too. We're going to talk about that and that whatever's going on over there. So we'll get there.
Yeah.
But I really shouldn't complain about this because like what have I been talking about? How like I wish Strange did like smaller, tinier adventures, and that's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
You know, it's Doctor Strange and Clea taking care of her baby sister. And the fact that they're questioning like, oh, like, do you ever want kids, like whatever, like that kind of thing, like playing around with the idea, because Clea's idea here is to like take her little sister as often as possible in hopes of like not allowing Umar
to corrupt her.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, 10 out of 10 plan, right? And you have an opportunity to put Strange into a father figure role without having to commit him to having the child.
Yes.
Right? Like, interesting concept.
Absolutely.
You know, this is a little more, you know, silly.
Okay.
Like Doctor Strange. Listen, it's very classic Strange. Like,
yes.
Strange had these adventures where it's like, ha ha ha, hoo hoo hoo, here we go.
It wasn't always the most deadly serious thing ever.
It wasn't always the world was going to melt or whatever. I mean, that's always the joke, is that Strange is like, I deal with that like 10 times a day, but like also but
it's also exhausting as a reader to read about that every single issue. So it's nice to get a little reprieve.
Isn't it?
But also maybe not put him in space and have it be boring.
Right. So you know, like he runs, like the story is kid is with them, they're chatting about whether or not they should like ever have kids, what it's like, what's the futures for this kid.
Yeah.
And then like she like magics off and they're like, they don't notice that it happened, and they're like, like we better go find her. And it's them racing through this carnival that they're at, carnival/circus, whatever it is, along with bats trying to find the kid.
Okay.
And then your B plot is the circus of crime is back. This is like, conceptually this is kind of funny. Initially I was like, what are we doing here?
What's the actual plan?
Because like I get we're doing something corny, cheesy, whatever, and then you kind of get to know the characters that McKay has set up as this like new circus of crime. And it feels a little more ecstatic.
Yeah. Like that kind of team.
Yeah, or like that tone.
Right.
Or Doom Patrol, like that tone, you know, like it's tongue in cheek.
Okay.
Right? You know, like you have Stefano Stiletto and Chief Beef, which I literally was like, what are we doing here? And Jim Nasty. And like Chief Beef is like, he's like supposed to be the strong man, but he's actually really super intellectual. And like the conversations they have, we're getting a vibe, right? You're getting a vibe off of it, right?
And a pitch.
And I'm like, that's fine. Like, I appreciate this because you're not just like being cheap and being like, whatever, it's just throwaway, who cares, right? Like, well, I'm gonna do something with it. I'm gonna, you know.
Yeah, if I'm gonna use these characters, I'm gonna give them their due. Like, people, while they're probably not the most popular Marvel characters ever created, there is an audience, or at least there could be an audience, and there are fans of these characters.
Think it's more introducing this tone into Doctor Strange's world, you know, where it's like, you know, Strange is often sarcastic and, you know
dry,
quick-witted and dry. And then to have these characters who are a little more self-aware, even though they almost do not interact with Doctor Strange at all. It's more their like interactions with themselves and bats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that. Yeah. Right. But, you know, at the end of this, like, we're going to be doing like another one-off after this. Right. And I'm like, okay. And right now, and again, I think we're just taking a breather.
Okay.
Right. Like, Strange, you know, died, and then Strange, you know, and then Cleo was
became
Strange,
something
and
else.
then like, oh no, Strange was back, and then oh no, we ran into another Strange who was like evil or whatever, and like we're gonna reform him, right? I think we're just taking a minute and we're letting Strange and Clea do their thing, because he does tease the fact that it's like Clea is still like a boiling cauldron of rage. And
sure, that's who she is. We're not, you know, she wouldn't be otherwise.
Right. And then while General Strange had like committed several murders, one of them, like, Clea was going to kill that guy if he hadn't beaten her to the punch. And so it's like we're setting something up for the future, and I very much appreciate that. Like, we're setting this up. We're gonna like get to that when we get to that. But let's just take a second. And you know what? I'm like, okay. But like, I don't know. The past two Avengers, it felt like sort of similar, even though they're not. Like there's
Okay.
something there. So I can't wait to see what the next one is, and I'm hopeful for it. But as much as I'm enjoying this book, and I do think that people who like Doctor Strange will enjoy this book, and people who are interested in Doctor Strange can pick this up and feel that same sort of like what is happening that anyone might have had when picking up a Doctor Strange book in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, what is this? What's going on?
That's
Who are these
great.
characters? But in that way where you don't feel as lost as you might have felt picking up X-Men in the 90s.
Oh, sure.
More or less like you're like, what? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, we're just making stuff up. All right, cool. Even though McKay is not just making stuff up.
No, he rarely does.
He does and he doesn't. Like he'll get you where he's like, here's something from me, and then here's something from the past. Here's something from my brain.
Absolutely.
So, still liking it, kind of like the art shift for this. A totally different feel, but like for a one-off, I appreciate it because I think when you see that collected as trade, you're going to recognize this as like a little one-off adventure, even though it is within the storyline.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
it's part of the ongoing adventure. It's part of the writer's run.
Yeah, it carries on, some of the narrative without being like majorly important.
Yeah, it's not a seminal chapter. It's just part of the saga.
Here's the day to day.
That is the difference between like an arc and a saga. This could be a Strange saga. It is actually the longest uninterrupted run of Doctor Strange from the death of to Clea to this that you've read without also being like, man, I can't wait for them to finally one day leave so that I can actually read Doctor Strange. Because legitimately, after Aaron,
I was gonna say
you've never been satisfied with an artist or the writer on Doctor Strange.
No, I haven't.
And not to say that they did a bad job, just it wasn't your cup of tea.
No.
This seems to be at least somebody who, like you, loves the character and wants to do something that you seem to be keyed into.
Yeah.
I feel like it's funny you mentioned Clea being kind of like this, cauldron of rage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in the MCU, it's pretty inspired casting to make her Charlize Theron. Yeah. Do you have any hopes and expectations that Clea will even be utilized, much less that there'll be like fun times ahead for Clea in the MCU?
I think we're going to see a Clea that's more like this one. She will be a Sorcerer Supreme in her own right. She will be potentially a warlord if they decide to go with that route. But I think we're going to see a Clea like this. So people who are readers now are going to understand that character, and people who knew Clea from the past are going to be like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
It's a different take on her.
Totally.
It's a more evolved take on her. It'll be interesting to see where she comes from. It'll be very interesting to see if they actually do the connections and all that stuff. Like
there's no reason not to.
I know.
There's so little
they
for
do
her.
like to take like to do their own spins, their own takes. So like I'm just kind of waiting to see.
Yeah,
but I do like Charlize Theron just in general.
She's great. Yeah.
Or Theron, however you want to say it.
But
I like her as an actress.
Same.
I really liked her in Atomic Blonde, and so I think by casting her, we are guaranteeing that she's going to be like flipping around and kicking things.
You're right.
Or doing magic or whatever. Like I think we're going to see a little more action
and some gravitas to the role. I'm excited for that too because I loved her in Mad Max.
I think she's going to have the access to magic as well.
Oh yeah, she'll be full on.
Like in earlier runs of Strange, you saw him along with Wong.
Yes.
Right, where Wong was more the physical combatant. Right. And
Wong was the like martial artist, whereas Doc was the more strong silent type with magic.
Yeah. But like now with Wong being the Sorcerer Supreme, we don't really get him in that role as often. And I'm wondering if we're going to see Clea as more of a heavy hitter.
Yes.
In that capacity.
I would not be surprised. In fact, I think that where they kind of like changed Wong's entire personality, role, character in the MCU from the comic books.
Yeah.
I see Clea becoming a mentor to Strange in the MCU.
Could be.
I mean, especially since Strange has been the Sorcerer Supreme in fewer movies than he's been in.
It will be interesting to see the future of that character. As I observe the MCU in terms of how they deal with magic, I realize it's like we can guess where things are going, but they're so doing their own thing. Sometimes it's just better to just kind of watch.
Yeah.
Just watch.
Right.
Just watch. So
yeah, that's fair. We should mention, by the way, this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching this show live, you can help support the show directly by using super chats. Ask a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show. It'll be part of the show forever, as these fine people have as well. I should also mention that if you were watching this show on ComicPop Prime, that is to say youtube.com/ComicPop, this video that you're watching will disappear, but the video will be preserved for all time over on youtube.com/ComicPop Returns. So if you are a fan of this format, if you enjoy this show, make sure to subscribe over at youtube.com/ComicPop Returns so you don't miss any other live shows we do. including this video. Hulkzilla, for example, says, glad to see you guys again. Hope you all had a fantastic holiday. Here's to an exciting new year of awesome and baffling comics. Same to you, Hulkzilla, and thank you for your support.
You.
Hopefully you and many of your fellow members of the chat had a wonderful holiday as well.
Yeah.
Nathan Chaffin, or Nathan Chafin, says, Tom Taylor must have taken a page from Tom King. Took me a month after the first issue of Titans Beast World released to realize it's a parallel to the first JLA adventure against Starro. That's actually a really good point. I never would have put that together without you, Nathan. Thank you. I kind of love that. That's fun. I also hate to admit it, I was very much not into Beast World, at least from the premise and the pitch, and in the wake of all the other events that are coming out of DC.
Yeah.
Got to give it to him. That first issue was really fun. And the art, of course, was phenomenal. I'm not reading any more of it right now, but maybe I might pick up more as we go, because I kind of dug the premise. Valifax Sword says, Happy New Year. I picked up Marvel Meow for my wife. It's a super cute, cozy read, and the art is fantastic. Thanks for everything you guys do. Cheers. You recommended that book in one of our previous shows, so I'm glad that that reached its audience.
And I read it.
You did?
Yeah.
How'd you like Marvel Meow?
It was cute. If you liked It's Jeff,
yes,
or the other It's Jeff, which I can't remember what the subtitle for that was.
I don't recall.
You're probably going to enjoy Marvel Meow. Jeff is in it briefly.
Naturally.
I will say I did like it quite a bit. It's adorable. If you're a cat lover, listen, you can't help it. You're gonna enjoy some of these. It's zany and wacky, and oh, look at all these cats in the Marvel universe, right? Like,
yeah, you'd be surprised how many cats there are in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Although I think Felicia doesn't count; she's a human being.
No, she has many cats though. She's like more of a cat woman in this.
That's funny because I recall in the comics back in the day when Felicia was first invented, all the way through her becoming like her own solo hero.
Yeah.
Not a lot of cats in her life, if any.
Right. Well,
I don't recall any
has
cats.
Like 4 or 5.
That's fun. All right.
Like she has a little crew.
Why not go? Why not lean in? Make her Catwoman.
Burglar crew. Which it's adorable. Like it is rather cute. I will say I feel like the storytelling in this wasn't quite as strong as some of the It's Jeff.
Yes.
But that doesn't make it not worth it. Like it's actually like it's so cute and like so succeeds in certain other elements of it. I think it's worth definitely picking it up.
All right.
It's also very family friendly.
Oh, great.
You know what I mean?
So you can give it to your kids. You can read it to your kids.
Read it to your kids. Read it with your kids, because there is actually a little more talking in this than in the It's Jeff, but a lot of it is just a lot of storytelling too.
Oh, cool.
So it is a great, read for any age.
Great.
Also a great opportunity to introduce folks to some characters in this. Like they're like background characters. Someone might be like, wait, who's that? Like Doctor Strange is in the background of this. Like Loki's there, and Spider-Man and Black Widow, and wait, is Black Widow there? No, she's not. No, she is. Black Widow's there, and Winter Soldier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all these characters that people might be kind of familiar with. Might give you a little gateway there. So
I agree.
And like, I mean, come on. And
cats.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously, too, like, if you own cats, like, there are things that they hype up in this or, like, over exaggerate that you're like, yeah, no, but that kind of, yeah, no, they ruin everything. But you love them. So yeah, and the art is quite cute. Like
it does look good.
It is a little more manga
in style, or inspired, I should say.
For sure. But yeah, I would recommend.
Arduit, thank you for your generosity. ComicPop Woo, Happy New Year. Cannot wait to spend the next year with y'all and your channel. The Dominion revelation was nuts. I'm not sure I fully understand, but from what I do, it's awesome. Mother Righteous takes an L. I did hear about that. We'll talk about that, I think, more directly right now. After I read Brady Patrick White's comment, ComicPop Returns. I was watching the X-Force Sabotage episode, and I needed a compilation of Ben and/or Tiffany trying to leave the couch. There is a staggeringly larger, an increasing amount of episodes where that happens.
Yeah.
Much to my own chagrin, but
it's because we know now.
Yeah.
We know they're not all going to be winners.
Well, that's very true. I think after 10 years, you guys should know that by now. And Malik Beaver says, hey guys, love the show. What are some good Clea Strange stories, Clea/Strange stories to read from before this current iteration?
I would there's I can never remember what annual it is, but there's a phenomenal annual. If you just want to like peek in on their like relationship and where it ended up.
Yeah.
God, I cannot remember which one it is. I think it's during the Aaron run though. It's so excellent. Dang, can't remember what it is. Take a look for it. It is one of the annuals. I'm sure you could pick that up. Otherwise, just again, like when it comes to Doctor Strange, I am a huge fan of just picking up some back issues.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because like Clea pops in and out throughout Strange's history.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, Wolfman has stories.
That's it.
Stern has stories.
That's the one.
Ah, okay. Doctor Strange annual #1 from 2016.
Yeah, that's it. It's actually not written by him, by Aaron, I don't believe.
No, I think it's written by Stuart Immonen's wife, Catherine Immonen.
It's pretty good though. I really enjoyed that. I remember liking that kind of setting up where they currently were. And that's actually not bad to like maybe get that so that as you're unpacking things throughout their history, it starts to make a little more sense. I don't know. They were a will they, won't they until they did, and then it was like, how is this possibly going to work out?
But it's working out fine so far.
Right. Well, especially too because like he was one of those characters. I think they were like, I mean, who cares? Marry him, don't marry him. Like,
absolutely.
whatever. But then it's like, oh, but then Doc can't just like do what Doc does, which is like, you know.
Well, you know, like they always like paired him off with people. Like I know that there was him with the Night Nurse, him with Carol. Sometimes the one that always caught your eye was actually a Bendis throwaway moment from the New Avengers Illuminati series, which was his like hopes and dreams of having a 3-way with Wanda and Clea, I think, and someone else. I can't remember who the third one was, but I know it was more than a menage a trois.
Yeah.
But
he just can't help himself. But like he also like you know like and he's had plenty of like companions. Like yes, there was Topaz. If you run into her, that's not Clea. It's a totally different chick.
That's true.
Totally different chick.
Yeah.
But no,
Rintra.
No, that's not the same thing at all.
Isn't it?
At all. No. No.
Well,
Rintra wishes.
When Rintra wishes. And Alex Lawrence, last year was my first year of reading comics, and it's thanks to you guys. Loving the Birds of Prey and She-Hulk runs, among so much more. That's great, Lawrence. Thank you so much. Or Alex Lawrence, I should say. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad to see that you love Birds of Prey. And the She-Hulk book, I know it's an acquired taste, but I haven't seen a lot of resistance to me recommending it, so I'm happy that it's finding the audience.
Good.
And of course, Nachika Naik, love the channel. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. So yeah, let's talk about that that X-Men stuff, huh?
What X-Men stuff?
Oh, you know, all the X-Men stuff.
Yeah, I actually had to do a little catch up. So I did do that. I did my due diligence and finished up Uncanny Spider-Man. I read the latest Immortal X-Men. I read X-Force. All that stuff just to catch up to Fall of X because I was like, let me just make sure.
Yeah, that you didn't miss anything.
Yeah. Probably the only thing I haven't been reading, which I may have to go back and just check out, is Iron Man. I have a feeling he's going to play a role in this.
He will, yeah.
Some of it I will have to go and read, but I really just haven't been paying too much attention to it, to be honest with you.
Fair.
It takes a lot to get me to read an Iron Man comic.
It's I understand that impulse. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, Fall of X, there's like a moment in there and I got weirdly incensed by it, and then I was like, who cares? What are you getting upset about? What are you getting upset about me?
Yeah.
Relax. Just relax. Yeah, this is the Fall of X #1. Here we go, guys. We're tumbling down the hill, right? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, Orcus is just ruining our guys here. They're destroying Krakoa.
They're enjoying their unprecedented wins.
Yeah,
so far.
yeah. They're just it's just coming from all sides. They've completely, ruined all the X-Men. Like,
yeah.
All the mutants. What's going on? We're gonna try to fix things or whatever. Set up a new status quo. Presumably, we'll find out, right?
Absolutely.
And this is kind of the start of that, where it's just, it basically is saying, hey, all the X teams, books, characters who
you may want to start wrapping it up.
It's more like they're like, it's time.
Oh,
let's go. We're gonna go get them. Right?
Okay.
Right, like we're gonna get them. Cyclops is going to trial. That's the big thing. He's being tried in the same courthouse that Magneto was tried in. Meaning, ooh, right, cool. This is not bad. I'm not like upset. I am a little like, this one was slow.
Yeah,
this one was slow in terms of how much time I feel like we have left.
Yes,
but you know what? I trust the people who are writing this,
absolutely,
and creating this, and working on this.
No, there's an incredible amount of talent that has come on the heels of Hickman's departure.
Yeah.
While Jerry Duggan had been there pretty much from the start, Duggan did a nice job of corralling and setting things up. But I mean, the British invasion of X-Men with Ewing, Gillen, and Spurrier, is one that and I just want to put this out there, and I'm sure I don't want to take your thunder, but like, if Marvel decides to let them go, which I mean, these are prolific, top tier creators who could do whatever they want. In fact, Ewing is doing Thor, right. Spurrier is doing whatever the hell he wants. Hellblazer returns from DC, and Gillen again. I don't know what the next step is for Gillen, but they could do whatever they want.
Right.
If you let them go, you will have made a horrible mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure that, wouldn't it be nice? You know, they've really fit into this Krakoa period.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to see what the post Krakoa looks like with those three working together.
Sure. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like he's doing Flash, he's doing Constantine.
He's mostly at DC at this point, if not completely.
Which is sad because he really did set up some great stuff at the end of Uncanny. He clearly would have liked to have seen in terms of what I know you talked to him about in your interview with him.
Yes, that's right. On this channel, YouTube.
Yeah, you saw a little bit about it. It didn't feel like it was it didn't feel mean-spirited. It felt more like this seems like naturally where it could have gone.
Yes.
That's not where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
But like, hey, here are some breadcrumbs if anyone wants to follow them. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
Uncanny Spider-Man kind of left some things. I know it like really upset a lot of people with the Origin Blue thing,
yes,
but like that
only the most loud minority of readers.
But otherwise, like that book did a lot. You know, Kurt's back. He's in this, and it was great to have had that under our belt to see like Kurt come around to the idea that it's like he needs to be here. He needs to be helping.
Yes.
Mutantdom. Keeps that Spider-Man suit. You know, all that.
Yeah, that's
stuff.
nice.
It's cute, but also that the floating imp was Legion.
Yeah, talking to him the whole time.
And Legion talking about how it's like it's one thing for someone to have a dream like Xavier did. He doesn't say exactly that, but like it's Xavier's dream he's talking about. But like you have to be even stronger if you're the person who follows up with it.
Right.
Like, you know, the idea of like having to like actually execute and living it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was him saying like Legion should have been the next step.
That is certainly Spurrier's opinion.
I'm just saying that. I'm saying that's what he's saying. But like he doesn't, again, it's not mean-spirited.
No, it's just like this would have been a great direction for
very professional.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
Professionally handled.
But back to Fall of the House of X,
which I mean, all of that is a part of this. You know, we see all the teams coming together. Colossus, if you're caught up on X-Force, they've essentially forgiven him for the most part. In X-Force, they say that Logan was the hardest person. He took the longest to say yes, but he said yes. And in this, we see them working on a new move as opposed to the fastball special. They're doing the inverse of that.
Yeah.
Talking about how like that's kind of it was one of the first mutant circuits. The idea of like Colossus throwing Wolverine with such precise, like incredible precision.
Yes, the fastball special.
Yeah, but now they're angry. They're angry like about how things have gone, right? And so they have decided to not do a fastball special. They're doing something else in which Colossus throws someone at Wolverine, who then eviscerates them.
Yes.
Which they're calling the screwball special.
I know. I loved it.
They're trying to come up with the names of them.
I also noticed that Wolverine's wearing the blue and yellow suit.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about that?
I didn't think twice about it because Colossus is wearing such a classic suit. So when you see them together, it works. You don't think too much about it. I do wonder if it's a hint to the future of X-Men,
100%.
Where they're just like, hey, get
ready
used to this, folks.
Yeah, get used to what this looked like 35 years ago.
But like, here's the thing. It's cool to speculate and it's fun to talk about. But it's not worth like, this is an exaggeration, but like dying 1,000 deaths over to like think about like, oh, what we could have had. Like, yeah, sometimes I do think about that, but it's not worth ruining what you're currently reading. You know, if you're enjoying it, like just enjoy it. You know, just have fun with the story you're reading right now, and don't worry about what could have been.
No, just this is what it is. I mean, like the fact is,
you
know, you could listen to a million podcasts where Jonathan Hickman tells you what was going to be or what Jerry Duggan wanted to have happen or wherever,
and that's fine,
and
like,
that's cool to know.
That,
but like these are the books, and this is what's going on.
Yeah, but I'd say like don't worry too much about like what's coming next, because here's the thing: if you don't like what's coming next for X-Men, no one says you have to keep reading it.
That's very true.
Go find something else that does make you happy, that does like spark that joy for you. You know, if there's a particular writer that you like, you know, go see what else they're doing. I don't know, maybe they got something good, or maybe from this you go back, because like Gillen wrote other X books. If you're like, man, I love Gillen's X-Men stuff, go back and read his other X-Men stuff.
That's
you
true.
know what I mean? Like,
so did Spurrier. Spurrier wrote different X titles before this, and they're worth reading.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, anyway, so
Cyclops is on trial.
Cyclops is on trial. You know, if you remember at the beginning of this whole thing, Dr. Gregor's husband died on the Mother Mold.
Yes, in the very beginning.
Ship. Yeah, the very beginning, right? And I appreciate that we loop back around to that. Like clearly, like she mad about this, and she always has
big
been.
time.
And like, so it's like
Get
personal.
over it, you genocidal woman.
Right? It's personal for her to make sure that Cyclops is on trial, right? But like Cyclops brings up a good point that they have like the Omega Sentinel here, and he's kind of like yeah, but like you're not gonna stop.
Right. You know that's like
mutants being taken care of.
Exactly.
Like, and humanity being humanity can't see the forest through the trees, or at least the humans that are on Orcus can't see the forest through the trees. Additionally, Charles has been working with Sinister, a piece of Sinister's like consciousness or DNA or whatever in order to figure out this whole Dominion thing, and get himself back presumably. And he's also been, I guess, working on his own plans, and so he needs to call in to play Rasputin 4, who is from the alternate timeline, future Sins of Sinister storylines, and she's integral to their plot to free Cyclops, because that's how this has all been. They've been like, we gotta get Cyclops out of there. Like, we need him.
He's our master strategist.
Yeah,
that's
he's our leader. We need him. They decide that, like, all right, well, we're gonna have to try something without her, because like we got to adapt, which I appreciate the message of that Kurt reminds them that's like, no, it's fine, we'll just have to adapt. And it's like, that's what mutants do.
Yeah,
they adapt, they change. Like that's
what the definition of mutate,
yeah it's very like apropos the more you think about it. Like humanity has like their plan, this is what we're gonna do, we move like this, right? And mutation, change, here we go. Right. It's also kind of nice for some reason for me to see like Kurt and like Piotr and Logan hanging out together.
No,
especially because Colossus is like, hi, I kind of missed all of Krakoa.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually thinking about that recently. Not Colossus, but he did miss all of Krakoa. Totally. But I saw a great image of like, Kate being a ninja and phasing swords through Orcus heads, and I was like, did Kate ever get a minute on Krakoa where she actually got to did she get to go to the grotto and get a drink? Like,
yes, she could go on via the boat.
I know, but like, did she actually have a minute? Because like almost immediately after they were like, well, you can't go through the teleporters. Well, you got to get on this boat and go get other mutants. Oh, you can't do that. Well, I guess go kill everybody. Like, you know
what it is? Like, I if you look back at the Krakoan time period, it feels like Krakoa got to be what it needed to be for mutants. Like some mutants just needed a haven and a place to go to be safe. And some mutants
or to come back to life.
right. Or to come back to life. And some mutants, like a lot of our favorite X-Men, they're workaholics.
Yes, they're like, well, I don't know what downtime means.
Right. And so for them, that this is what they wanted.
Yeah.
Like if you look at a lot of like the main players, they're used to fighting, and like that's what they did.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing about Beast, like
Beast didn't miss it.
No, he lived it to the fullest.
Yeah,
he's still living it.
Beast pushed it.
Yeah. Colossus Cyclops does his Cyclops thing. The judges, like the prosecution's like, well, everyone mutants suck. They said they were going to help and then they didn't. That's my case. Thanks so much. And Cyclops is like, I am not.
This is a sham.
I'm not going to dignify this with a response. And the judge is like, but that means you're going to definitely be guilty. And I'm like, I don't think that's
not how that works, but okay.
Sure. All right.
It is when it's a sham or a railroad or a drumhead trial.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Orcus is like, woo, we did it, everybody.
Yep.
Let's go destroy Krakoa.
It's like, didn't you already? It's like,
no,
over.
the island's still there. They want to
they want to blow up. They want to kill the island.
Kill the island.
Because the island is a mutant. Yeah.
And like, Nimrod's like, can I go? Can I do this? And I'm like, wait, I thought you were kind of more, okay, no, it is, all right, fine, we're switching up the roles here. I'm cool with that. And that's like, Dr. Gregor's like, am I an idiot?
Yes,
for a lot of reasons.
Right?
Yes.
I couldn't help but notice that there are no superheroes on my Orcus team, but we do have the Vulture. You know what I mean? Like, we've only gotten enlistees who are, you ever notice, you're looking around, you start noticing like all of the hats have skulls on them, and you're like, oh no, are we the baddies? Yeah.
No, it's them.
Yeah.
They're the baddies.
That's right. Yes.
I wouldn't be
No, it's not me. It's the children who are wrong.
Nimrod shows up to kill Krakoa. Krakoa manages to get away, becoming the island who
walks like a man. Yay!
Does his thing, makes a run for it. They're
Krakoa
like,
hauls ass. That's awesome.
Yeah, legitimately. They're like, okay, cool. And then Gregor makes her like, this is Ewing doing like its poetry at rhymes, or Duggan doing its poetry at rhymes, like coming back around, because she gives a speech where she's like, as you slept,
The world changed.
changed. Like, she does her whole thing. And she's like, don't worry, humanity, we got this. We're taking those mutants out. And I wanted to be like, listen, I get it. People are terrified. They're scared. You know, like they've done a really good job of creating this like PR nightmare for the X-Men, right?
Yeah.
If these people can just get rid of an entire like species, what's to stop them
from
from
moving
coming for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, who's to say that they're like, hey, we hate people with glasses.
Right, exactly.
If you need corrective lenses of any kind, you gotta go. We're gonna jettison you into space.
Right. It's a problem when you give like a lack of due process and like autonomy to hate groups.
Yeah. So, you know, I see like Rogue and Gambit are back, Shadowcat's there, and they're like, Shadowcat, it's time for her to go rally the troops. And that's basically what she does. She's like, hey, these are the people who are going to be involved. You know, we got Juggernaut. He's been at the X-Mansion.
He's been there?
Yeah.
That's cool.
She goes and reaches out to their human friends, so like Cap and everybody.
Well,
like,
the Unity Squad, I'm sure.
Yeah, like we need you guys. She reaches out to Iron Man and Emma, who she calls Mr. and Mrs. X, and I was like, excuse me. That was my moment where I was like, no.
Yeah.
No, leave that. That's
Rogue and Gambit or Mr. and Mrs. X.
You leave them alone. What is he the X of?
Right? Yeah.
But they go to Araco, touch base with them, right? It's like cool. Then she goes to find Polaris and she's like, where are you? She just finds like her outfit. That was the thing with Polaris. She kept changing her outfit. She's like, is this better?
Yeah.
Is this what I should be wearing? Does this look good on me?
Stick with one.
You know, she doesn't have a lot of confidence.
No.
Right?
That's
Like,
fair.
so she's like trying to like change the outfit, change the person, right? She's like,
Mm-hmm.
going through it, right? But where is Polaris? What is Polaris doing? Well, if you've been reading X-Men, you remember when they ran to the Brood and Brood was in charge of them.
Yes.
And they were like, we got to kill the Brood, and like, they caused some like, infighting between Cyclops and Jean, but like at the end of the day, like they didn't. And so Brew feels a need to help them.
Yes.
And they're like,
this is the thing we set up.
Yeah, they're like, we're with you. And I'm
great.
like, the Brood are going to fight for mutants.
Well, we knew that was coming. The second they put Brew in charge, I was like, yes.
I didn't think it would happen right away.
I mean, it's been a while.
I thought they might like keep it over there. I don't know. But I'm like, that's cool. Also, Polaris' fun outfit where she has like a Magneto vibe.
Oh, wow.
Kind of cool.
That is cool. I like that.
Kind of liking it,
Magneto,
right?
Polaris. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. So, and like, I love this moment for her at the end where it's a total Magneto moment.
Right.
She's surrounded by, her powers and Cape's flying, and she just goes like, then to war. And I'm like, cool.
Sweet.
So it's like, it's a slow drum.
Right.
But like, I appreciate the fact that, we're taking a couple of moments to just kind of enjoy the world that was created.
Yes.
And to enjoy the opportunity for some of these writers to like, just fill in a little bit more to give like these characters a little more depth. And because for me, that's what a lot of the Krakoa era did, was filled in these writers' versions of these characters. Because here's the thing, every writer's gonna have their version of a character, right? And it's not that like this one's the ultimate one or this is the final version of it. Like, this was a time frame, this is a time period, and like I happen to like this version of these characters, so I'm like looking for whatever extra stuff they're going to give me right now, because I know that this is coming to a close and I'm just going to enjoy it.
That's fair.
Just gonna enjoy it. Yeah, so good stuff. Looking forward to the next thing. Don't call them Mr. and Mrs. X. Otherwise, no notes. I will say one other thing. Just one other thing. Art on this was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it's good. I feel like it could have been like, I think it's just,
it's a big moment.
It's a big moment. I think I'm just not a fan of the combo of art, inking, and colors. There's nothing in like, take them apart, there's nothing like wrong with them.
Yeah.
It's just kind of when you put them together, I just feel like they weren't lifting each other.
No, it's true.
They
weren't good compliments.
It's not bad.
No.
It's just like
it didn't tip the scales.
Yeah, it's just like I'm like,
there are some other opening salvos or huge moments. I mean, like Ten of Swords.
Yeah.
Just a flawless execution of color, ink, pencils in terms of like building up those moments and having those key moments be satisfying and exciting. You're not thinking at any point, oh, this could be better.
Yeah.
You're just enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
When the art and the inking and the colors don't necessarily all mesh, all you can think of, all you can see are the seams, unfortunately.
Yeah. That said, I also just really quickly want to like just touch on something that had come up in our chat. This happened a few weeks ago. But yeah, Immortal X-Men like happened, and it was like, hey, if you read Sins of Sinister and you're like, I love Kieran Gillen and I want to keep reading more about that, and like you were following Immortal X-Men, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's the book where it's like Jean is dead, but also not, but is. Like, I love Cyclops also in Fall of X. It's just like, you know, he's seen Jean die before. It doesn't suit her. Like, death does not suit her. Like, he's like, she'll be back. It's fine. Like,
yeah.
And when she is, like, you
You're
guys are
gonna
going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble out there. But this was the issue where they were like, hey, let's who is the Sinister who formed the Dominion, right? Like, if you remember in Powers of X, we went heavily like back when we did Powers of X.
Yes.
We talked heavily about Dominions and you know, the Phalanx and all of that, right? Like, it was all these different graphs about like what is this and what fits into that and like how that's like outside space and time, and like there it is, right? And it turns out that's all Sinister's ever wanted, was to become a Dominion. Like, what's up with that, right? That's why there's like all these other like clones of Sinister out there. They're all trying to race to become a Dominion. And in Sins of Sinister, he discovers that one of them made it, but he doesn't know who. Right?
Okay.
In this issue where it's like, we find out who.
Okay.
Right? It's like, who was it? And we think, right, like as we're approaching the end of it, it was Mother Righteous. She had this whole plan, right? You know, Kieran Gillen come out of the gate with this character, like, here's Mother Righteous. What's she up to? Actually, I can't remember if he did this or Spurrier created her. Regardless, fun character.
Yes.
You know, Essex's wife becomes a Sinister, right?
Yes.
Like, you know, she uses more magic. She explains why she uses magic, has a whole diatribe about that, why we're here, what she did, the fact that she did in fact mess with the gate to put the mutants into the white hot room, which is what I had thought might have happened. And that everything has been leading up to this moment, because what she needed was to have Jean die, because whenever Jean dies, she goes to the
white room.
Yeah. And from there,
or the red room, I don't remember.
White room, white hot room.
Thank you.
And she will like, you know, just be hanging out there, and like she knew that with all the other X-Men there, like her spirit or her body or whatever would like not be able to handle like the barrage of psychic energy from them, and so she would try desperately to get to this one point which she needed to get to. So she uses her to lead her there, where she finds this like great white piece. It's very, if you've read Sandman, it's very Gaiman.
Yeah.
Where it's like there's this big white canvas, and what she's going to do is she's going to bleed Jean dry, which will help to like tap into the Phoenix's energy, and she might even hurt the Phoenix quite a bit. Who knows? She doesn't care.
Right.
Doesn't care, because her job is to become a god. That's what she's going to do. She's going to become a Dominion. And so she like writes, like, you know, there was a poor girl from Essex, and like she grew up and then became a god.
Right. Yes.
Right. Like she writes something like that.
She's writing
Ta-da.
the book of the world. Yeah.
And she's like, ta-da! And like Destiny's like, I saw the future. You just doomed us, because that's not what's going to happen. You set up everything so that he becomes it.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? And then like the page turns. She sees like the corner flip. She's like, what is this? And underneath it, it basically says, ha ha ha, you're an idiot. It doesn't say that, but I'm going to paraphrase that for you. Right. And so it turns out that like, it's like presumably the original
Mr. Sinister.
Yes. The original Nathaniel Essex, seemingly. Is
the Dominion.
Is the thing that became, like, he did all of this because he like he knew he would get there that way.
Okay.
Like, cool. All right.
That is definitely not what Hickman was going to do.
No. Not at all. Not at all.
By the way, like,
but I appreciate,
but whatever. But it fits. It fits this new narrative.
You know, it's funny because I appreciate it, and like I do wish we could have seen the other thing. But I appreciate the idea of them just making it work within the world that was given to them.
Exactly. Yeah. This is serialized fiction in Marvel Comics, where it's like Hickman left. Here's the next thing, and here's where we take that idea that nobody did anything with. You know, it ain't like Hobgoblin, where we just waited until Stern wrote the actual ending.
But it's fun too, because they keep up with, like, you know, the suits. There's like the diamond, the club, the spade, the heart, and then in the middle it's like the king.
Yep. Like, yep. And they teased it. And I know we kind of fell off of Defenders Beyond.
Yes.
Apparently that was in there too.
Yes. No, I 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just wanted to touch on that. Sure, it's like, hey, we got to find out. We're finding out who made that Dominion. Also, you know, Gillen's that kind of writer where he's just like, no, this character is going to get like literary justice.
Yes.
Like, she thinks she's got it all figured out. She doesn't. because I'm the writer.
Exactly.
And we're talking about the power of words and page and prose and all that. And I'm like,
it's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love when that happens.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Quick Nards says more Junji Ito, please. Fair.
Listen, I'd love it.
I know, right? Well,
if we weren't going to get in trouble.
Yeah, tell all the manga publishers to lay off the copyright strikes. We gotta
figure out if there's a way for us to do that.
I know,
I'll come up with something.
Revolutionary Dragon. Hey, ComicPop, Happy New Year with Peach Momoko. Ultimate X-Men coming out in March. It's cool to see Tiffany do Demon Days on back issues. It would be cool to see that.
Would you like that?
Why not?
Okay.
I think I'd like you to do the rest of the Krakoa era at some point.
Okay.
Joshua Link Gillen has said he's leaving Marvel after this, and Ewing has said in his newsletter that his time with the X-Men is ending. Yep.
Yeah. No, we all know that.
Yeah. What a terrible situation for the X-Men.
Well, and here's the thing: they say every writer. I mean, some of them do actually hold to it, but a lot of them be like, "I'm done with this company for now." A lot of times it's for now.
Oh, you mean like when Jamestown the Fourth was like, "I'm done with mainstream comics, especially for DC. Goodbye." Oh wait, you're doing Sandman. Okay, I'm back. Hi. But just this though. Definitely won't happen again.
Yeah.
Devin Ferris, hope you guys had a Merry Christmas and a great New Year. Looking forward to another awesome year of ComicPop content. Thanks, Devin. We're looking forward to giving it to you. Meta Knight says, Tiff, least favorite aspect of X-Men lore.
As of right now, I think it's the demonization of Beast. I do appreciate them pushing it this far in this, fully accepting what he's become, acknowledging it, having everyone acknowledge it. But that slow burn of it occurring without anyone kind of realizing that it was occurring. Yeah, not a huge fan.
And he asked my thoughts on Cassandra Nova as a bad guy and her involvement with the X-Men. I don't care for that character. I just don't.
She feels a little bit like a yes and.
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, it's very Grant Morrison, and I'm very not here for it.
I thought she was used well recently.
Yeah, it's fun when people have an idea. I love when a character is something where you're like, what are you doing? It'd be really interesting to see that. I don't consider Cassandra Nova to be the same thing as Alpha. But if you were to do something funny or interesting or cool with characters that no one regards,
right,
or that I don't, then I applaud that effort.
Right.
Cora Valentine, ComicPop woo to you too.
Thank you.
Way excited for all the Ultimate books. This will be the first time I read an ongoing as they release. Thanks for all you do. Thank you very much, Cora.
No problem.
Days Toys. Hey y'all, I wanted to thank you for introducing me to Jamestown the Fourth, enjoying the Deviant, World Tree, and his Dracula miniseries.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that Deviant book. So dope. This is a book that came out, I think, last week, the week before, but I still need to talk about it because we talked about every other issue of the series.
I was going to say, you've never talked about this on the channel. I don't understand why you would even. It's not like we know that you have a pitch for Predator.
Hell no, but Predator versus Wolverine, Ben Percy, Ken Lashley, Kei Zama, and Gavin Guidry covered the final issue of Predator versus Wolverine.
It's only 4 issues?
Yeah, that was it. That's all it takes.
I mean, that's true.
You know what? You don't want to overstay your welcome. You don't it's issue 9 of Predator versus Wolverine.
That's fair.
Especially because the present day plot is just Wolverine running from Predator in real time.
Okay.
And it's all right, But this one, of course, we see 2 different flashback sequences. One where he's it wraps up his battle with the Predator when he was training to be a samurai with the Matsumura blades.
Yeah.
We also have the one time that the Predator actually infiltrates the Xavier Mansion, and it's when Wolverine is there. Gavin actually had a really funny insight in the chat of this show today, where he mentioned that people are so into the continuity at X-Men right now, or overall, that they were this is the moment where it had to have happened in X-Men continuity. This is the only time that it could have occurred where Predator actually showed up at the X-Mansion. But it's really fun to see, Wolverine being I thought I could stay here.
Right.
I thought this could be my home, but I can't outrun this stupid Predator. Should I leave for this? No. But it's really cool. Kurt is no. We're gonna fight this Predator together.
Okay.
And it was such a fun story. Obviously the whole thing is the Predator dogging Wolverine through time, all throughout his history, and then culminates with the ultimate final battle between Predator and Wolverine happening now, or let's say it happens post Krakoa, because Lord knows, I guess Wolverine could have dealt with him, but we don't see the Predator go to Krakoa at any point, so I have to assume it happens afterwards.
Right.
Yeah, Predator flies low over Krakoa. He's nah, I'll come back later. But Yeah, man, it's super cool. Guidry's art in particular, it evoked this kind of like classic Cockrum style, but in a very modern way. It reminds me very much of like Cockrum meets Somni. Really cool stuff. It reminds you of a purer time for X-Men, where you're just like, look at them being X-Men, and then the Predator shows up. It's like, oh, that's everything I've always wanted to see. Lashley, of course, wraps it up with his art in the present day story in a way where I'm like, yeah, that's satisfying. That's cool. Like the final battle between the Predator and Wolverine is cool, earned, and dope. Percy gets, of course, Wolverine. He's been writing the series since at least Krakoa.
Yeah.
And I am looking forward to seeing more of these crossovers. I know that it did sell pretty well.
Great.
So I hope it incentivizes Marvel to continue this trend. I would love to see some more Predator verses, and I would love to see any of these artists on this current issue working on any of those in the future.
Absolutely.
But it was fun, totally earned.
Great. I love it.
Really, really dope. The Gray Initiate says, I know I'm very late, but I just listened to you both and picked up Supergirl Whirlwind tomorrow on Friday. Spent Saturday reading. It's truly amazing. No argument here.
Yay!
Thank you very much for enjoying it. I also read Batman 141. This is, of course, Chip Zdarsky, Jorge Jimenez.
When is the Zur-En-Arrh thing going to be done?
Soon. It feels like it's soon.
It feels like it's been a really long time. I'm sure it hasn't.
Well, it's been since the beginning of Zdarsky's run. Like, so it's been the last 3 or 4 arcs, but it is culminating.
Okay.
I mean, like, listen. Okay, so here's what happens. Batman's fighting Zur-En-Arrh in his head. Ultimately, what happens is Zur-En-Arrh leaves and then downloads himself into the failsafe robot and brings all the other Batman multiverse Zur-En-Arrhs with him. So now you got like composite Batman Zur-En-Arrh in an unkillable robot. That's why. I mean, like when you had the Zur-En-Arrh established as like an evil personality in Batman's head, and then set up a personality-less giant evil like unkillable robot with like a disposable name like failsafe, they were gonna put Zur-En-Arrh and the robot, so Batman could actually punch Zur-En-Arrh, and that's what happens. And so he battles him, and then ultimately Zur-En-Arrh, like, it's interesting because like this one issue felt like the entire failsafe arc condensed into one issue.
Oh,
and which was kind of fun. It was just like a little like true, like, oh yeah, I remember when Batman was running for his life. That's fun, and so that's cool. And then it wraps up with Batman and Joker being like sealed into a prison together. Left to talk, and that implies I think we're going to get an entire arc, which is a flashback story. It's called Joker Year One, where we're going to get Joker's origin, or at least one of the 3 Joker's origins, and so we're going to get that. And then I think after Joker Year One, then we'll go back to the present, and Batman will fight Zur-En-Arrh ultimately. But I think that the Zur-En-Arrh arc is wrapping up after Joker Year One, where we get the true origin of Joker, or the true origin of one of the Jokers, and it's like, all right. The story looks great. I know a lot of people are kind of like losing steam with this, particularly the Zur-En-Arrh thing. It's like, at the end of the day, for me at least, there's only so much you could do with this. And but I think Chip feels it. Like, I think Chip knew that when he was executing the story, or at the very least, he's like, it has to wrap. You can't do this for 2 years. Like, it has to wrap up.
Yeah.
And so it is. And so that's cool. It was fun, despite the fact that I was like, ugh, like I'm kind of like wrapping up with this myself. I actually did fall off of the book a couple of issues. This issue in particular was like, oh, okay, we're back.
Okay.
So I dig it. But yeah, fun stuff. And I'm like, all right, Zur-En-Arrh being an unkillable robot, sure. Let's do that.
Okay.
Why not?
All right.
I do recommend it.
Okay, cool.
Stupid Sandwich, thanks for your generosity.
Thank you so
I
much.
realize it's been quite some time since Marvel took up the reins on one of the crossover books, but did they really have to stretch it out this many issues? It feels like playing fast and loose with Wolverine's canon. I mean, it's not in continuity. Like, I don't think it's in continuity. And 4 issues ain't a lot, I gotta tell you. Like, no, they could have easily made Wolverine versus Predator 6 to 8 issues. I think it was conservative that they did 4. Because yeah, like, you get in and you get out. Like, there's not like, I feel like there wasn't enough time. you know, to really explore a lot of that stuff. Like Samurai Wolverine versus Predator, yeah. The only difference is the other misstep, if I could even suggest there is one, is that I don't know if I care for the idea of there being one Predator that's been hunting Wolverine his entire life.
Right.
But I'm a Batman versus Predator fan where it's like Batman fought the Predator the one time and then beat him. And then other Predators are like, that guy
rules.
That guy, I'm going to fight him.
I'm going to kill him.
Right. And it's like, so it's like, I like the idea that no, each time that like Wolverine beats a Predator, another Predator's like, oh, but this one, you know what I mean? So it's just each time you get a different Predator, you can get different armors, you can get different weapons. You can see like an evolution of the Predator and see them change tactics. And maybe like one learns from the other, you know, like that, or three Predators attack Wolverine, you know, like, you know, it's one Predator for like the first 3 arcs, and then the last one, like 3 Predators show up, and they're like, "Let's strength in numbers. Let's do this."
You know, you say that now,
Mhm.
but if that did exist and they invented a weapon you didn't like, you'd be like, "Why do we have to do this?"
Yeah, I know.
Why do we have
That's
to make
true.
that?
Well, no, they don't need to. Well, no.
Why would
I'm
there
not
be
asking them
3?
to
He should be on
invent.
his own.
Well, I've never complained about any of the weapons that Predator has invented. That's a tradition.
Okay.
In the Predator
okay.
franchise, every movie / iteration has to have a new weapon introduced. I thought it was super dumb in AVP the movie how Paul W.S. Anderson was like more excited about like the dope cool weapons that Predator was going to use than having a coherent story that anyone could enjoy.
Mhm.
But you know, that being said, they did tell us to make him stealthily larger, by the way. So
Steadily
the Predator
larger.
steadily larger, so the Predator kind of evolves. That's and multiple run-ins as part of the fun. That's true. And that does actually feed into the prey of it all, because like the prey / the Predator, which I don't consider canon, is like they evolve. Like the Predator incorporates every new learned experience. No,
I like to think you went back and he worked out.
Oh, definitely. Well, he had like decades in between it. But yeah. Anyway, you got any other books?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear 'em.
Real quick, I got 2 more. I just want to touch base on a book that I have been enjoying the heck out of, called The Hunger in the Dusk. It's put out by IDW, written by G. Willow Wilson, with art by Chris Wildgoose. I did an interview with G
or Willow on
about
the channel youtube.com/ComicPop. You can check it out here, or if you subscribe.
Yeah. Wait, it's on ComicPop?
ComicPop Returns.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
She described it as the hot orc book because they are. They're just hot, sexy orcs.
Yes, that's right.
Totally fun. It's fun. It's excellent. This was like a boiling point issue. Like everything had been going pretty good, which meant that things were definitely not going to end up going pretty good. And I really enjoyed the drama that was added to this issue quite a bit, while also like unfolding, you know, like some potentially larger threat. I'm not sure. I don't know where this is going, and I don't pretend to know where this is going. All I know is that I'm going with it wherever it is going.
I like that.
So looking forward to more of this book.
I don't know where it's going, but I'm going with it. Tiffany from ComicPop, right on the cover. That's fair. Anything else?
Yeah, Moon Knight.
Oh yeah, Moon Knight. You said you wanted to wrap up. This is the new series, Vengeance of the Moon Knight.
Vengeance of the Moon Knight. Hey, you know,
same creative team.
Moon Knight's dead.
Long live Moon Knight.
Alessandro Capuccio on this one.
Here, I'll be right back. You keep it going.
What?
Just give me a second.
Oh, okay. Sure. So you know, we left off. If you pick this up, you're like, Moon Knight's dead. They very much make that awake. We're aware of all of that. They kind of wrap up the last issue of the last Moon Knight book, just to be like, hey, you know, in case you weren't aware, just picking up this #1 for the first time, which I'm sure some folk did. This is what's going on. This is the crew, right? You know, we get a little bit of background for each of them, but we understand the fact that it's like his previous team is now trying to take over, keeping up the Midnight Mission, trying to keep going with Moon Knight's desires, essentially. We see Reese is talking with the therapist who had been helping Moon Knight at the beginning of a series, and presumably we utilize this conversation to fill us in on everything, but also to understand where Reese is coming from. Like, why is she doing these things? Also to set up the fact that like Tigra's mad about stuff, which is totally fair. I love that. You know, since she's been introduced to the series, you know, she brought like a little bit of emotional baggage for Moon Knight, and it's nice to see her going through the loss a little differently than Reese is. for sure. What I wanted to make sure that Sal was here for was that in this issue, we deal with like how the Midnight Mission is going to deal with any sort of funereal services. There's no body.
Oh, okay.
No, not like that. Well, yes, but like there was nothing really to
bury.
Right. And also
inter,
like he didn't really want much of anything, but they wanted to sit Shiva.
Okay.
Shiva?
Yeah, Shiva.
And so like they didn't know really how to do that or what to do, so they called a friend.
Oh.
And they called Ben Grimm.
Well, he would know.
Yeah, and so like he's like, don't worry, he took care of everything. He brought food, he handled all the services and stuff like that. It is such a sweet moment, and like he and Tigra have like this moment because like they know each other, and like he's like, how you doing? It's just really sweet.
That's
like
cool.
He's literally there just to do this.
That's great. What a great use of that character in that situation.
Yeah, like he doesn't do much else, and it was very sweet, and like for me, it's one of those touch points where it reminds you that the greater Marvel universe is still out there. Because like when you're hanging out with Moon Knight, especially in this series, you're in like a really dark space, and sometimes you forget that there's like other things happening out in terms of the rest of the world of like Marvel.
Yeah.
So to have like Ben Grimm show up for this purpose,
right?
It's like, how nice. He does not punching anybody. You know, it's just nice because it's like it also reminds you that there is like he is a man.
Yes.
Like
that's right.
He's not just a superhero or a big rocky monster or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he's a dude.
Exactly.
You know.
I love that.
They also have like a service as well where some other heroes show up, people who knew him. Strange and Clea are there as well, just FYI.
Oh, cool. Well, it's Jed McKay, so yeah.
Right. But as they sit Shiva for him, and again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. I honestly don't know. The heroes are there and like they take care of the Midnight Mission's work.
Oh, cool.
Like, and so they're like, we'll fit in as you're sitting for your 7 days.
Nice.
Like, you know, to make that happen.
I love
was
that.
like, it's cute. Like, right? They're like, yeah, like just a handful of them. But here's the big twist. By the way, here's another McKay. Like he borrowed some. Yeah. Anyway, it's cool. It's great. Love it.
Yeah.
But we're like, hey, like look at the team working together, right? You know, you got Soldier and Reese, vampires, like doing their thing, like dressed like, you know, Moon Knight. We got, you know, Moon Knight's like brother who like, you know, he's doing his Moon Knight thing as well, but not really Moon Knight, you know. This is the kanji there. But you know, they're trying to make it work, and you know, Tigra is actively seeking out Black Spectre. Like they didn't get him; they have to get him. She's like, he has to pay for it, right? Like
totally.
That's how she's dealing with her loss,
revenge,
right? And you know, Reese is like, yeah, that's kind of what, you know, I do want to kind of talk about that. And like, you know, the therapist is like, you know, you didn't really deal with your own emotions, and she's like, oh no, that's not why I'm here. I need like help with something else. She's like, because I did, like I cried so much I bled from my eyes, like, you know, like I dealt with that. She's like, but like here's the thing, at the end of the day, like he's Moon Knight, you know, like he works with, he didn't die, like he's gonna be back. Like we all know it. Like, you know, Reese is basically saying what we all know in our heart of hearts, right? She's like, the problem is that like 8-Ball got the crap kicked out of him because like even though he's a reformed villain, I guess not everyone agrees with that. And then we see that the issue is that like Moon Knight is in fact back.
What?
Or some version of Moon Knight is back.
Like Mark?
No, we don't know. It's just somebody who shows
There's another Moon Knight
in a very different suit that says like, I'm Moon Knight. Get out of my house.
So it's like Death of Doctor Strange.
So that's my problem, right? Because this is a great issue. Let's not pretend like this is not a great issue. Very much enjoyed this issue quite a bit. Like, you know, we really deal with the emotional impact. We deal with some of the characters dealing with it. We started the original Moon Knight book with Moon Knight saving Reese and Reese becoming part of the Midnight Mission and like just her journey. And like now, like she's like, you know, the therapist is like, listen, you're 19 and you quit like school to do this. And she's like, I'm a vampire. I'm going to be 19 forever. Like, I'm going to do this for right now. It's cool. Don't worry about me. Right. Like, I'm just throwing myself into this work. Right.
Yeah.
Like, is that the best way to handle things?
Probably
I don't
not.
know. But that's what, you know, she's doing right now.
Yeah.
You know, Tigra is throwing herself into like actively, literally hunting people down and like, you know, using violence as a way to deal with like her trauma. Right.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and also like this Moon Knight shows up. And I'm like, I love all of this, except it does feel a little like
derivative. It feels like you did this already.
Right. But only if you're also reading McKay's Doctor Strange.
Right. So if not, it's like, that's innovative.
This is awesome. So I'm really not going to knock him for this because like, here's the thing. You know, I don't think McKay's a one note. Let's see where this is going.
Absolutely.
It happens to be that they killed off Doctor Strange, but like in another book, Moon Knight is inherently tied to death, right? So I'm like, I really am not going to knock him until we see where this is going.
Absolutely.
But admittedly, while I was reading this at the end of it, I'm like, really?
Oh,
We'll see.
yeah.
Maybe it's someone else. I don't know. Like,
Mhm.
and that's why I'm not going to say anything about it, because I don't want to get up in arms about something I don't have an answer
Absolutely.
to yet.
Absolutely.
So, like, we're going to find out all together. That said, you know, like, clearly you can feel McKay's love of this cast of characters.
Yes.
Like, not just in
The mission, these people.
the mission, the people,
Tigra.
the family that like he has developed here. You know, utilizing characters that Moon Knight has interacted with in the past, characters he's newly introduced. Like, it's just a nice mix. You know, and I know he has a passion for Doctor Strange. It just feels different with this. And I think, you know, having read that letter in the final issue of Moon Knight before we launched into this series, it just proves how much he loves this book.
Totally.
And it's one of those instances where a writer is able to like contain that love and still put out a good product.
Yeah.
So like I said, like I'm gonna hold off any sort of like, what do you do? And it feels like you do the same thing until we see if it's actually the same thing.
Wow, that's weird. You're on the internet and you talk about comic books and you're just jumping to some ridiculously polarizing conclusion.
I'm trying.
That being said, like you've had many predictions, especially when it comes to McKay, and you've been right most of the time.
But we'll see. Like I'm not willing to put anything on the line for that. It's just like I had that moment, but I'm like, again, Moon Knight is a character that is tied to death. So I'm like, you know what? Let's see where this is going.
And like you were enjoying the Moon Knight, right? There was no like, it wasn't really earned. Like him dying was like, that kind of came out of left field.
No, it was kind of earned. I mean, like it was
earned in as much as its execution was good, but it's like, well, why are we killing him now?
Right.
Like the book is running for like over 30 issues. People are really enjoying this book. Why are we killing him?
You know, and if you look back on it, I know why you're killing him now. It's because he found some like semblance of like peace, and like he'd made it work. Like he made the three, you know, having three personalities, he made that work.
Yeah.
He like was dealing with like, you know, Tigra, he's dealing with like Reese, he's dealing with, you know, Khonshu and like the connection there, but not the connection there, you know, like all of that. He was dealing with it. And so I think it's like, now that you have found that, well, let's pull the rug out from underneath
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah, don't get safe, don't get comfortable. This is Marvel Comics, by the way.
Right. So I see where this came from. So we'll see what happens. You know, like I don't know. And well, we're gonna find out. That said, Capuccio's art, great. You know, like Capuccio was an artist who came onto the scene with this book for me.
Yeah, like you'd never
kind of
really...
like was my like really introduction to their art. And initially I was like, there's some really good stuff here, but it didn't feel as consistent. And like throughout this series, it has just become super consistent. It's action packed. It's really incredible. I don't know the colors on this book, but I really like what they were doing.
Yeah, it's very moody, very atmospheric, very like gritty.
Yeah. There's also like this glow to it. I love it.
Ethereal glow.
Rachel Rosenberg.
Nice.
It's doing really great work over there.
Really good compliment. Didn't make you think about it. You know, you were just like, oh, you just enjoyed the story. And then you thought, hey, you know, when it worked, it was like, that really stuck with me.
It's also fun when you slide through the book pretty quickly and you can like piece together what storyline you're reading through just by the coloring.
That's amazing. So good. Yeah.
Good
and Moon Knight gets away with it. You couldn't necessarily do that with an Avengers book.
No.
With Moon Knight, you can.
No.
So we should talk about this other thing, but before we do, Sean D said, all right, pause. How is the Predator even supposed to kill him? Every ordinance we've seen them use wouldn't work against Wolverine. Also, hi. Hey, Sean. Well, I mean, the Predator doesn't know. You know, the Predator's like, I don't know he's unkillable. I don't know he can grow from a single blood cell. I just know that, like, you know, he's tough.
Right.
So and Predator also loves a challenge. Hayden Hamilton, thoughts on Predators movie and Planet of the Apes. I love Predators. I believe it's Nimrod Antal, but I don't remember who made that movie, but it's the one with Adrian Brody. I love that movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. That was like, for me, I'm like, yes, and then it made like $1. I'm like, no, why? Because then its failure allowed for the Predator to happen. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen a single new Matt Reeves Planet of the Apes movie. I haven't seen any of them.
Ethan has, and I think he likes them.
Oh, he loves them. And every time I see a new trailer for them, I'm like, this looks like a really good series. And then I don't watch it. And but I have seen most of the original Planet of the Apes movies. That is to say, Beneath and Attack, and you know, the main one
and the rest.
But I like those. I like the first one the best. The subsequent sequels are silly, but also like they're great. Like they feel like a Twilight Zone episode, but extended with characters I know.
Okay.
And I like Cornelius a lot.
Sure.
Anyway, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Jim Lee on X-Men.
What?
I read that headline yesterday and I thought, no. So what are we talking about? Well, normally this would be kind of like a Reddit posted a 4chan leak, and so let's talk about that. Like that's not just some comic book retailer who's just making up stuff.
Yeah.
Like the post Krakoa 4chan leak that was posted on Reddit the other day, which I'm like, wow, those are all the most popular theories about what's happening. And by the way, just as a quick like breakdown, it was like Beast is going to die and be replaced by the original backup Beast. They're going to move to the mansion. It's like it's everything you could possibly guess they were going to do.
Right.
With the X. It's like, yeah, wow.
That's not really a leak.
That's not a leak. That's just that's just what people do now. What they do is they have a fan theory, they call it a breaking news or a leak, and then they post it. And then if it gets a lot of retweets, then some like news outlet will post about it.
Sure.
Well, speaking of that, Bleeding Cool posted, Marvel Comics tried to get Jim Lee to take over X-Men post Krakoa. This would be normally like, oh, really? Yeah, shut up. And I was immediately like that. Apparently, this comes directly from Rob Liefeld, former Image founder of with Jim Lee,
sure.
Who on his podcast basically said that Jim Lee came this close to returning to X-Men last year, but instead remained publisher and chief creative officer of DC Comics. It's like one of those things where I'm like, why would that even be a rumor? Why would that be a theory? Why would anyone think that was going to happen? Yet, I have to lend some level of credence just by the fact that Rob Liefeld has nothing to lose by saying these things.
Sure.
And that he has in the past used his platform to air laundry that isn't his.
Right.
Similarly, Kirkman has done the exact same thing. He just recently, he leaked that Stephen Yeun was going to be the Sentry, because Stephen Yeun did the voice of Invincible, and so he had privileged information and then shared it with people, that is to everyone. News he had no business sharing. And now Stephen Yeun has dropped out of the Thunderbolts movie and will not be playing the Sentry. I'm sure there's no correlation between that. But in this case, Rob Liefeld says Jim Lee was offered. To give a breakdown, I'm not going to read the entire article, but you can. Sure. And actually, I'm going to put it in the chat right now. So if you are watching the show, you can always just check out the Bleeding Cool article yourself. But Marvel Comics apparently offered Jim Lee a chance to helm X-Men post-Krakoa. Jim Lee opted to instead stay at DC as publisher and CCO. Apparently, he'd passed on drawing for X-Men, valuing family time over intense deadlines, and the upcoming X-Men relaunch in June will not feature Jim Lee's artwork. Based on the character designs in the Fall of the House of X book, and how they are deliberately trying to evoke Jim Lee designs / looks.
Sure.
The fact that X-Men 97 is Marvel's entire push for X-Men in the multimedia world.
Sure.
The new cartoon, all the action figures, every single piece of X-Men media and toys and everything that's coming out from Marvel is aping entirely off of Jim Lee's X-Men. The idea of them asking Jim Lee to helm the X-Men is, and I hate to suggest this, but I think it is one of the best ideas that they could probably come up with in terms of getting immediate bombastic news and sales. Right? Marvel would make, and the sad part is it would be a failure. It would be a failure in as much as it would not the X-Men #1 written and drawn by Jim Lee would not outsell X-Men #1 written by Chris Claremont with art by Jim Lee from 1991. It just wouldn't. We're not there anymore. That time is over. I think that would be very exciting. I would pick it up, but it would not be the juggernaut, no lowercase j, that they think it is.
Right.
I also don't want Jim Lee writing the X-Men. I've seen Jim Lee written books. Pass. Especially after this. Can you imagine the switch from that to this? The other thing is Jim Lee hasn't drawn sequentials in like years.
That would be my biggest concern, right? Because I think in terms of like writing, I think there is a portion of comic book readers who aren't a fan of what's been coming out from
Absolutely.
Krakoa, and so like they would welcome a return to that
form.
to that style. We're not calling it form.
Mm-hmm.
Calling it to that style.
Fair.
That style of writing. That like, it's just they prefer that type of storytelling.
Totally.
Right. And then, whatever.
Yeah.
That said, I would be concerned about the sequential element of it. It's one thing to draw a cover, and it's one thing to draw a poster.
Yeah. Or a promotional image or whatever.
But like my understanding, because I've never done sequentials, my understanding is it's just a different skill set, and it's something you need to keep up with, and it takes an inordinate amount of time. Like
Absolutely.
so much time goes into drawing sequential works.
Yeah.
So much. Like it
is an entirely different muscle to expand.
Right. And it's like, it's so funny because it's like if you go to a convention, you see an artist sitting there and they're just drawing like an image, right? It's like, that image took them a long time. If you commission them to do something, you're going to get that commission by the end of the day or by the end of the convention. If you can come back in a few days, you're going to have it. It's like, yay, I got this one image, right? Now imagine they have to fill a book filled with images like that.
Right.
And some of them are tiny and some of them are big, and they got to start over and they got to do this. Maybe they don't work digitally. Maybe they want to work traditionally. Like it takes so much time.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and hell, even like the conventions, the commissions, usually like artists will set up a commission list online before the convention so they can have time to do it before or during the convention.
But it's seemingly like, artists are magicians, and they do things and they make it look easy and stuff like that. But like, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time.
Absolutely.
And like, you're going to not only have to draw it, but then like someone's going to look at it and go like, oh, we need to change this.
Yeah.
Or, oh, we changed this sequence.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that's not what we were thinking.
It's also just overall, it is a terrible business move.
Yeah.
Like you're leaving. I mean, I can imagine.
Well,
I could probably imagine if Marvel were to have had like some secret lockbox of cash just dedicated for Jim Lee.
Right.
It would be a staggering number.
Right.
Because it would have to be in order for him to leave an executive position at his direct competitor. Because here's the thing. Imagine for a minute a reality where Jim Lee takes the offer, right? Jim Lee's like, okay, I'm in. I love X-Men. I want to do it again. Here we go. So he draws X-Men, right? Now he is an artist for hire at Marvel. Mm-hmm. He's not in charge. He's not an executive. He's not an editor. He's just the guy they hired to draw it. Marvel did this before. About 30 years ago.
Yeah.
When they hired Jim Lee to draw the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
When he wasn't an employee of Marvel. He
Right.
took that job too, but that was before he was like an executive at DC.
Right.
And he parlayed all of his original ideas for that position, by the way.
Right.
But now he's an artist working for Marvel. So he's under the same deadlines, the same scrutiny that he was when he was like a 20-year-old.
Well, that or he'd have to they probably work the contract differently, and I'm not going to pretend like I know how
what that contract looks like
would look like or how it would work, but I'm sure he would have something in there which would give him a little more say and a little more sway if that's feasible.
Right. But the worst of it is that everyone, regardless of their intent, is going to be comparing it to what he used to do.
That's exactly it. That's the other thing where it's like, as soon as you mentioned this to me, like I immediately, it was like, well, he's not going to do that because he's literally going to open himself up to attack. Like you're an artist who hasn't drawn sequentials in quite a long time, and you're going to go back to the book that kind of put you on the map for a lot of people. Right. And then people are going to go like, oh, that doesn't look like the way it looked like, regardless of,
style to evolution.
Well, I was gonna say regardless of like age, because like here's the thing, like much like an athlete might lose a step, that can happen to artists
too.
Like art is a physical medium.
Yeah.
Like you have to things change, right? So regardless of that, let's just take that part.
Throw all that away.
His style has changed over the years.
Absolutely.
So it's not gonna look exactly like that.
No, it's not. You're talking about bringing in an artist to run the X-Men who hasn't drawn sequentials in almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And hasn't drawn the X-Men in 30 years.
Right.
It is a complete lose-lose for him.
Additionally, in light of, I think, was it a cover you showed me recently that was like an older artist?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
We don't have to bring it up who it was, but I'm just saying,
and that was like
And like that just
And-
goes to show you it's like people are unforgiving.
And
of
exactly
change.
right. No, they have no, and maybe some artists feel like they're like, this is not my best work. I'm not proud of it, but I have to put it out because I'm under the deadline. This is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I'm going to put myself out there
Mhm.
to what I know is going to be criticism that is
Right.
like going to be harrowing and mean spirited.
Right.
You know, but what other choice do I have? Nobody wants to
No.
be in that position.
Additionally, I could understand him entertaining it
100%.
because it's like,
oh, it's a great marketing. It's a great negotiation
well,
tactic.
I would say it's not just that. I would say like in his heart of hearts, like he is an artist. He is a creative. And
Sure.
like, as the like CCO, COO,
CCO, Chief Creative. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like he still gets to do covers occasionally, but like
not nearly as often as he used
This
to.
would be stretching some muscles that he hasn't had for for a minute, right?
Yeah.
And like, so
yeah.
I'm sure for like if this all happened, that like he might have thought about it.
There's no way he didn't think about it.
Like you think about it. You
if
think
it's
about
real,
that,
and again,
like,
allegedly, if
yes,
it's real,
if
Rob
real,
isn't full of shit.
Yeah, if it's real, like absolutely, I could imagine him going like, that could be fun, and then realizing how much effort that would be.
Absolutely.
To have a bit of fun. You know, Jim could just make a creator own.
That's true. Yeah, Jim could just bring back Wildstorm anytime he wants.
Yeah.
You know, there's something to be said for the fact that there is a brand new Wildcats series that came out. I didn't see a single Jim Lee cover on any of that.
Right.
And that was for his characters.
Yeah.
Gavin Guidry, noted comic book artist extraordinaire, mentions a great point. He says people still bag on J.R. Jr. for not drawing the same way he did 40 years ago, despite the fact that his output is still incredibly high volume. And I am the first one to give him accolades when he nails it. His Daredevil covers have been fantastic, and that's another thing is that like sometimes maybe there's look there are a ton of artists, and I'm not talking to you, Gavin, you know what you're talking about, but like there are a ton of artists out there who have learned. Why would I open myself up to that level of stress, strain, scrutiny to do a sequential? Alex Ross hasn't drawn a book in years.
Yeah.
But he's done a crap load of covers and he'd get the same amount. Like he's like, I could do a 28-page book, or I could do a cover, or I could do I could do 28 covers for the same amount. You know what I mean? Like it's a no-brainer, and it's the first thing you see. You know, and I hate that because it means that we're getting like, you know, we're losing some of these artists who I would be excited to see interiors. I mean, like the part of the excitement of Jim Lee doing it would be to see interiors. We have seen Jim Lee covers for X-Men in the last 10 years because he did all those cards, and Marvel just put them on the covers. And as I understand it, didn't talk to Jim Lee at all about it, which they don't have to. It's just a courtesy. Now, I don't see any reason why they couldn't work out a deal. This is my just like, I live in a fantasy world.
Yeah, you
I don't see any reason why Marvel couldn't work out a deal with Jim to do the covers.
To
do new covers.
He's the chief creative officer.
So?
No.
Why?
No.
Why not?
No.
It gets people into comic book stores.
They're not going to see it like that.
Batman comics sell Marvel.
No. Yes. But
Batman comics get people in stores and they buy Marvel as a result.
Sure.
Jim Lee doing X-Men covers gets people in the store.
Yeah, but that's not how their marketing team's going to see it.
Who gives a shit? Those people don't work anyway.
They're going to see it as like, if you want Jim Lee, then you have to come to us.
Yeah.
Don't go to them, come to us. That's how they see it.
Absolutely, but like I haven't gotten Jim Lee in almost a decade.
Well, then that means we're not going to let them have him.
Why not?
That's true.
Yeah, but if Jim Lee is motivated by money, you know what I mean, to do it, then just take the cash. I think that's. I know that's not a reality we can live in. I'm just saying I don't think that's. I think that we should allow for that.
Right.
Or how about this? Okay, you know what? Fine. You know what I'm going to say? Okay, fine. Jim Lee is going to stay as chief creative officer. He's not going to come over to Marvel and draw X-Men.
Right.
So we're going to do Justice League versus X-Men with covers by Jim Lee. And we can promote the next Dawn of DC event because Justice League is coming back. Justice League's been off the table. Wouldn't this be a phenomenal way to promote both books? Justice League is coming back. to DC at the end of the year,
Mhm.
or at least that's the theory. Who knows?
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I should say that out loud because one of the people who works at DC is also a co-host in this channel. But I don't know anything about it, but I know that inevitably Justice League's coming back. X-Men's coming back in July. Like new X-Men, right? Do a crossover. And then both those books sell each other's titles.
That would be cool, but they're not going to do that.
I think that's the way to do it. And you can get it done because Jim Lee is chief creative officer. It's not like, oh man, Chip Zdarsky really wants to do a Batman Daredevil crossover, but he's just a writer. What is he going to do? No. I'm in charge. He can facilitate the whole damn thing. And everyone wins. Because look, regardless, like if a book, if Marvel or DC puts out a book and it sells 1 million copies, which is a reality we do not live in anymore. It's just those days are over,
right?
And the sooner we accept that, the better off we'll be. Just like I think the days of making Aquaman movies that make $1 billion have been over, and it was an inflated reality in the first place. But those days are over. But if it were to come to pass, everyone wins. Everyone wins when that happens. Like one book on the shelf sells 1 million copies. Everyone's the amount of people who are facilitating 1 million copy sale are in a comic book store buying comics. And statistically speaking, they're not there to buy one book. The Death of Superman comics sold more books in addition to the Death of Superman than just that one issue. Because they were on the shelf, and the comic books retailers aren't stupid. They're trying to get people to like sell. Free Comic Book Day. It's not about getting a free comic book. It's about facilitating the sales of the books that are on the shelves. The Free Comic Book Day is the marketing tool to get asses in seats, get them through the door. I think a crossover would be the way to do it.
Did you just somehow take our conversation about Jim Lee returning to the X-Men?
It is a Marvel DC crossover, isn't it?
Oh my god!
At the end of the day, but yeah, I if that's the case, but like, yes, we almost lived in a reality where Jim Lee left DC and allegedly and went to Marvel to draw the X-Men again, which tells me two things.
Wait,
which by the way is the worst of the worst. And I don't. Do you want to make your point first?
No, I think I was going to make the point you're going to.
Oh well, then please take it.
I think I was.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, in this alleged world,
reality,
yeah, where that happened, and even where if this is real, even if it didn't happen, but the offer happened, it doesn't look good for anybody.
No, it makes both companies look inept.
Like if Jim was like, I'm going to leave DC because I don't like what's happening here, in order to return to draw a book I was famous for
35 years ago.
Yeah, from that long ago, from like 3 decades ago. That's not a good look.
No.
And it's not a great look for Marvel to go, we have no ideas. Let's just do the thing we did before that made us a lot of money.
Yeah. No, it shows ineptitude at the highest levels at both,
like
at the big two.
If that's real, it's not great.
Which is why they should do the crossover.
Okay.
It's the most creatively bankrupt thing you could do. And it's like, but it also saves you all money and effort. But like, yeah, no, it shows Marvel has no plan. It's just, it's just political parties. One is a company of no ideas, and one is a company with bad ideas. That's what it is. Like, it's a bad idea to get to throw away everything that happened at Krakoa and then just do what they did in the 90s with X-Men. That's a bad idea. And DC being like, yeah, let's let our chief creative officer go and draw Wolverine.
I get the going back to like trying to like recapture the 90s audience. I understand that, but like doing it in a way where you just do the thing you did, that's the part that's like bankrupt. Like
it's
not
insane.
Like taking it and like trying to filter it into like a modern day.
No,
I don't know.
And it does not.
I don't know.
No, it's a terrible idea. It is such a terrible idea. I would imagine, because like I've been complaining about this forever. We don't know what happened to Dan DiDio at DC, because DC has never issued a statement about where Dan DiDio went. They've never said whether he was fired, whether he quit. We all know he was fired, but like there's never been an official word from the company about what a leader in their company, where he went. No one, no official statement. Marvel and DC, I would keep this shit under your hat because it makes you both look like morons. Like, people are finally excited about DC. Dawn of DC is like, at the very least, exciting or interesting or successful. There's some good books that came out of this. There's a comprehensive plan. There's a forward trajectory. There's little mini events that have, whether they sell or not, the fact is they're getting people talking about the books. And then your chief creative officer goes, bye, I'm going to draw Wolverine. That shows that there is absolutely no confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And Marvel's like, I don't know.
Also, this is real. Like, I don't know if it would be, but like, is it insulting to other
Oh yeah.
artists
Can you
now?
imagine?
Where like,
You're Capuccio. You're drawing Moon Knight. Maybe I'd like a crack at the X-Force or something like that. Nah, we're just gonna hire the guy from 35 years ago.
well, it's like, okay, so we couldn't get Lee.
But we can get Wells Pataccio.
How about you?
Yeah, right.
How about you? You want to do it now? That he said no.
He said no, so we'll call you. Yeah, no, it's just insane. Like,
What is wasn't Capullo supposed to be coming to
Capullo is allegedly. Capullo's doing a new Wolverine book.
Oh,
He's not writing it; he's drawing it.
Okay.
We don't know who the writer is on it.
Oh, I was gonna say.
But we do know that we've seen sequentials from the upcoming Wolverine book by Greg Capullo,
Okay.
and it looks fire.
And like, here's the thing: there are always going to be situations where, like, an artist, like, where someone like doesn't accept
Brandon Joy
doesn't accept a project, and so it has to move on to the next person.
Yeah.
But if this is true, this is such a big stunt that it's like I don't know. This is a weird one where you're like, okay, so we couldn't get this.
Jim Lee, but yeah, no. So
wait,
ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, the Grateful Dead could not be here today, but we did get Everclear. Like, like what? Sorry, we got Smash Mouth.
But like, no, I wouldn't even say it's like that. I think it's more like it's a band. You have to pick a band who's like, has music that people enjoy and like maybe similar, but it's not.
It's not the same.
It's not that, but it's like now it's going to seem negative because they couldn't get the thing they want. I don't know.
No, it's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, looks bad. Looks bad for everybody.
Yeah.
It also
means, hopefully it's not real.
Well, yeah, but if it is real, it also means that Jim Lee's for sale.
He does Twitch streaming. I get push notifications about that.
He would not have time for that.
He's art streaming.
Yeah.
He does like, I'm like,
you're like, I gotta draw this damn book. I'm sorry, everybody. I can't do the raid right now.
No, he streams his art. He does like art covers on there.
Yeah.
Or like he'll do like random
commissions. I've seen those. Yeah.
But
yeah, man. Ugh. Also, just on the topic of that Capullo Wolverine book, who would you like to see write Wolverine? If not Ben Percy. So I feel like it's just like, yeah, Ben Percy could keep going.
I think here's my pitch. Whoever has a Wolverine story.
No. You got to pick one.
You
got to sign it. You're Tom Brevoort. You're in charge of the X-Men now. Decide who's going to be writing Wolverine.
Who's writing Wolverine? Dang.
Right?
I don't know.
I mean, if we're Marvel, I mean, obviously I'm going to hire Howard Mackie to write Wolverine. I'm going to get Mark Teixeira to come back and draw Wolverine. God, yeah. I guess I'll ask Bob Harris to come back and he can edit the book. And what's an idea? Oh, Omega Red shows up, and like, come on.
Oh, you're
get some
doing
effing, get some like grow, like you're in 2024. You know what I mean? Like, ugh. Not to say that Teixeira can't draw; he still can draw a Mean Skull. We've seen it. But and Mackie is still writing for Marvel.
Bet.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. It's insane. I think that, yeah. Honestly, you know who I'd get to write Wolverine? Scott Snyder.
Oh, just because Capullo's on it?
Why not?
All right.
It's a great combo.
You're going to get a lot of history lessons.
I know what I'm in for. I think we all know what we're in for when we pick up a Scott book at this point.
Okay.
A long, boring history lesson that was made up for the story that then relates directly to the action that's happening in the next page.
We'll get a 12-issue mini series written by Tom King about Wolverine.
And he's just why he's so effing sad.
Yeah.
Just Jorge Fornes and Tom King. It's called Wolverine is Sad. All 9-panel grids. And just Wolverine being like, what does snicked mean anyway? I don't know. Anyway. We want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Let's recommend some comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out.
Okay.
Batman and Robin #5 from Joshua Williamson and Nicola. I'm not even going to try. I'm sorry. It's a different artist on this book, switching it up a little bit. But yeah, Transformers #4, Danny Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer. Yay. Yeah. Transformers, baby.
Yay.
Yay. Sensational She-Hulk #4. Woo. It's a fun story. It's a cute little book about Jack of Hearts and She-Hulk. And of course, Ultimate Spider-Man #1 from Hickman and Marco Cicchetto.
Wow.
I am going to make a prediction about this book.
Don't. Okay, go ahead.
It will not outsell the last issue of Amazing Spider-Man. The most recent issue of Amazing Spider-Man will still outsell Ultimate Spider-Man #1.
Ouch.
I know. Because that's the world we live in.
You don't know that.
I do.
I know.
I live and breathe. I live and breathe.
and I breathe.
But folks, if you want to see Ultimate Spider-Man outsell Amazing Spider-Man, the only way it's going to work is if you pre-order the book. I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's great.
Pre-order the series, or at least the book. You can't anymore. Book came out.
Oh.
Comes out on Wednesday.
That's true.
But
if you ask for it now, then they could go to a reprint, maybe.
Yeah, you'll get the second printing. I think it will go back to second print. There's no question about that.
Okay.
But
I think what's funny is I think a lot of people are it's gonna be a weird one because of
Hickman hype, Ultimate hype.
Well, because of was it Ultimate? What was it?
Oh, Ultimate Invasion or whatever.
Yeah. That wasn't well received.
No,
but Gods is great.
Gods is great. Yeah.
A couple things that are coming out this week for me. I said I would give Century or Century one more, so I'm going to give it one more. You see how this is going. I don't know about this one. I just wanted to look at the art for that.
Yeah,
it's just neat.
Yeah, it's neat. Okay. Dotson's good for them.
Luke Cage Gang War #3. I've just been enjoying having a Luke Cage book. Kind of fun.
Yeah,
see how this goes.
Good for Luke.
Yeah, Rodney Barnes writing this one. I'm just like, yay, go Luke.
Right.
Wolverine. I might check in.
Was the beginning.
We'll see.
Sabretooth War.
Yeah.
Big event.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm in for an event right now with the Fall of X happening, so I might bomb in or not, or wait till this is over. And then this has been me with the Wolverine book, though. Like, I check in, I check out, I check in, but it is part of fall, so I don't know.
It is indeed. And apropos, Ben Percy will be on ComicPop Returns chatting with us in February. So keep an eye out for that. We'll talk about Sabretooth War, Predator versus Wolverine, and he's got a prose book and more coming out.
I hope you're also going to talk about Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about Ghost Rider.
Also, Rise of the Powers of X is coming out.
Interesting. I like that handoff because it was Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of 10.
Yeah, Powers of 10.
Yeah. Oh no, it's been a while since you said the title.
It's written by Kieran Gillen too, so
it'll be wonderful.
It'll be pretty fun. Looking forward to it.
Hooray!
What's going on? Who knows?
Who knows? Indeed, I'm looking forward to finding out. We should also mention that there are a few more super chats here. LT3, but Sal, do you like every ape you see from chimpanzee to print chimpanzee? I do not. I hate every chimp I see from chimpanzee. But they'll never make a monkey out of me. Ray Farr, welcome back, Sal and Tiff. Please give Wash pets and treats. We will. Wash is our orange tabby. And So Lazy, thanks for your support. Ultimate Spider-Man is going to be my first Marvel book in over a decade. Thanks to Jim Zub for bringing me back to the stores. Very nice of Jim Zub for doing that. Yay, good for Jim. Jim Zub writing that Conan book that if you have any interest in Conan, read Jim Zub's Conan book over Titan. It is unabashed fun. But also, congratulations. Enjoy that book. We will see you guys next time. And of course, if you are coming from Facebook or youtube.com/ComicPop, please click the link in the description of this video, or at the very least in the pinned chat that brings you over to youtube.com/ComicPop Returns. We do this show every Monday night from around 5:30 p.m. or 6 p.m. Until the show's over. This episode was especially long, but they are ending up that way. So you're getting double the content every week on Mondays. And of course, stick around on Fridays for occasional live episodes where we talk about one topic, break it down, interviews, and more. We're looking forward to making more content for you in 2024. We want to thank you so much. And of course, stay tuned on Wednesdays for back issues, and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Usually you can go to twitch.tv/ComicPop, or you can go to youtube.com/@ComicPop Plays. Again, every link is in the description below every video we make. But you can watch Tiffany play video games. She just finished up Spider-Man 2 for the PS5. That entire playlist and the entire 32 episode run of Midnight Suns is on youtube.com/ComicPop Plays. Check out all that. Hey, listen, and we're not talking like 15 minutes a pop here. We're talking 2 to 3 hour long playthrough videos.
Sorry.
Oh, I eventually ran out of pictures to make thumbnails out of. It's just what the episode looks like.
I know. Sorry.
But because there's so many episodes, it's never gonna be like that again. No, it's fun. It's worth checking out. But we will see you guys next time with another episode. Thank you all so much for being here. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and if you want more, you can always go to patreon.com/ComicPop to get early access to back issues and a special secret podcast that only Red Raiders, that's the tier of patron, can listen to. It's usually just behind the scenes info about what we're planning, what we're working on, and answering questions that you guys have. So thank you all for being here, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.